Everybody, this is Don LaGreca from the Michael K. Show. When it comes to talking sports, Bob Walters and Brett Grasso are the authority.
Can't wait.
When it comes to talking sports, they're the authority. It's Bob Walters and Brett Grasso. It's Locked Up Sports, and it starts now.
That's it. Bring them out, bring them out, hey. Bring them out, bring them out, yeah. Bring them out, bring them out, hey. Bring them out.
Here we go. From the Brian Gunzel Studios, I'm Bob Walters. This is Locked Up Sports. We got a big one for you here today. Could Tommy DeVito compete for the Giants' starting job next year? It's reportedly down to the Mets, Yankees, or Dodgers for the Yamamoto sweepstakes. Who will he pick? When will we know? And we speak with former Mets manager Mickey Callaway right here on Locked Up Sports. Welcome to the show, everybody. Thank you for joining. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe. Every little bit helps. As you can see, if you're watching, I'm in the Brian Gunzel Studio, Sayville. Brett is not with me right now, but he's in bad shape. He's downstairs. He's resting. He will join us for the interview. It's not every day you get to speak to the Mets manager, the former Mets manager, right? So when we do, he's going to come and he's going to join us. And listen, he's in bad shape, so he's putting it all out on the line. He's playing hurt, and he's doing the right thing for the show. So you do the right thing and make sure you rate, review, and subscribe. All right. Last night, another barn burner Thursday night football, courtesy of Amazon Prime. What a disaster! The 63-21 was your final. The Chargers fired their coach immediately after the game. He should have been fired. Listen, he was going to get fired either way, right? They probably should have fired him at halftime. They fired him after the game. If this whole debacle didn't happen, he was still going to be fired at the end of the season because they're a better team than what they're putting out there. And what they're putting out there is garbage. That was non-competitive last night. Again, it's another disaster Thursday night game. Imagine being Amazon Prime. Imagine being Amazon, paid $11 billion. And these are the games you get. You got a disinterested Al Michaels. You got Kirk Herbstreit, who's just hanging on, trying desperately to make the broadcast interesting when it's just unwatchable every week after week after week. I mean, what a disaster. And I told you they were terrible games. They've been terrible games. They have too many windows. They play too many games. They play too many days. Okay? And again, another example of a backup quarterback that can't play. And when you have a quarterback that can't play, the game stinks. Bottom line. Okay, when you have a quarterback or quarterbacks on the field that can't play, that can't throw the ball, they're not up to the NFL level, the game stinks. It's not entertaining. That was non-competitive. It was 49-0 at halftime. I've seen blowout high school games better, more entertaining than that. 63 points. You can't give up 63 points if you're in the NFL. And, good for Antonio Pierce. As a Giants fan, I'm rooting for Antonio Pierce. I hope he does well. And I hope he gets the job. But that's irrelevant. That was an unwatchable game last night. And how many unwatchable games are we going to have this NFL season from across the board? Every week there's multiple unwatchable games. And it used to not be like that. The teams are skimping out on their backup quarterbacks. And you know what, to be honest with you, I don't think there's enough quarterbacks with the talent that you need to have to make it an entertaining game. There's not enough out there to fill backup quarterback spots. There's only 30 some odd people in the world that can play NFL quarterback at a level where the game is entertaining. Let's say 37. Let's say there's 37, 38 quarterbacks in the world that can play the position to make the game entertaining. That means only 5 teams are going to have a backup quarterback that's not going to just come in and the game's going to stink. And, I mean, it's been awful. Now, a lot of people are going to say the Giants, Tommy DeVito is one of them. One of the ones that can play. One of the 37. Listen, I love what Tommy DeVito's doing, okay? It gives it. We thought a couple weeks ago there was nothing to even think about watching with this Giants team this season. The season was over. You didn't need to even turn the games on. There was no reason to turn the games on. Now, with Tommy DeVito, it's a little insanity type of thing going on here. there's a reason to watch the games, and it's fun. It's fun. He's played well. He played well the other night. That was a good win for the Giants. But they got it not because of Tommy DeVito, and he played well. That throw he made on the he was rolling out to his right in the back of the end zone, that's as good a throw as anybody in the NFL would make. But let's pump the brakes a little bit on Tommy DeVito. Let's pump the brakes here. Okay? He beat the Packers. And I know you're going to say the Packers beat the Lions and the Chiefs on the road in consecutive weeks. They did. That's true. But they're not a very good team. They're very inconsistent. And Jordan Love threw the game away because he was throwing the ball to the Giants all night. He had 3 picks. Turnovers all over the place. Tommy DeVito, he didn't throw for 375 yards, 4 touchdowns. He didn't make any mistakes. That's what he did. He managed the game. He's a game manager. He managed the game. And when he needed to make a good throw, he did. Now, the one on the final drive to the post pattern where he was just open in between, behind the safety. Listen, that was a good throw, but that's a throw that any NFL quarterback has to make. That's not like a, that's not like oh, it was a great throw. Now, the one in the back of the end zone, great throw. But he can't consistently do that. And listen, what happened when he played the Cowboys? They got the doors blown off them because the Cowboys are a good team. You can't say somebody can compete for the starting job and you're going to go out and lose 47-10 or whatever it was they lost to the Cowboys by. You can't. Now, let's see him. Now, if you really believe in him, let's see him do it against the Eagles. He's got to play the Eagles twice now. Let's see him run the table here. They still won't make the playoffs, but let's see him run the table. Because that's another thing with the Giants. They're not making the playoffs. Stop with the whole, they're alive. Yeah, they're alive, meaning they're not mathematically eliminated. They have, I think, a 0.2% chance of making the playoffs. That's not going to happen. Okay, they need to run the table, which means beating the Eagles 2 more times, and get a bunch of help. They have the same record as the Bears. Do you think the Bears have a chance to make playoffs? No, you don't. The Bears have a better chance of getting the first pick than they do of making the playoffs. So, listen, pump the brakes for Tommy DeVito, but enjoy it. Enjoy every minute of it, because now you have a reason to watch the Giants. Just 3 or 4 weeks ago, there was no reason to even turn them on or even care what the score was because they were just tanking and they were a bad football team and they couldn't play. Now you got a reason to sit down and get a little excited. But as far as going forward, Tommy DeVito, no. If Tommy DeVito's your quarterback next year, the Giants have big problems. And to be honest with you, as fun as this is and as great as and as fun as we're all having watching it, every single win that Tommy DeVito racks up it gets you further away from the quarterback that you need to draft. Because this is a good quarterback draft, and it's one of the drafts where you want to be near the top. And every win he gets, the Giants get further and further from the top of the draft. And they're now heading towards the middle of the draft. And that's the worst place you could be, is the middle of the draft. Especially in a quarterback-rich draft like we're going to have next year. And when the Giants need a quarterback, you can't run it back with Daniel Jones. You can't run it back with Tommy DeVito. Now, could Tommy DeVito be the backup? Maybe. Judging by the way backups have played this year, yeah, he could be a backup. But he can't be your starter. He's not an NFL quarterback. Okay? He's not an NFL quarterback. And I know it, as much as I want him to be, I would love to have him be the next Brock Purdy. He's not. Okay? He didn't throw for 350 yards. Let's see it. If you think he is, prove me wrong. Have him prove me wrong and throw for 300 yards against the Eagles. Go into Philly, go in there and beat the Eagles. And then beat them at home 2 weeks later. But there's a very good chance that this fairy tale comes crashing down in the next couple weeks. Very good chance. I hope I'm wrong, but let's be real. Let's be real here. The Giants, he is not the quarterback of your future. And if he is, you're in trouble. Now, what it did do is shows that Brian Dable can develop a quarterback because Tommy DeVito's gotten progressively better each time he goes out there. He looks a little bit better. There's only so far that your talent can take you, but he does look better. Remember the first game he came in and they wouldn't even throw the ball? They just handed it off against the Jets. It's a world of difference now, just 5 or 6 weeks later. A world of difference. So that's what's going on with the Giants. That's the Giants report. We're going to get to our interview now. I'm going to go down. I'm going to get Brett. We're going to call Mickey Callaway because he called us before we were going to tape it. It was a bad connection, so he's going to run out. You had to run around and do some stuff. Now he's going to call us. We're going to have the interview now in just a minute. I'm going to run down. I'm going to get Brett. We're going to have the interview. It's going to be a great listen. We got a lot to cover with Mickey. All right, there was a lot that went on in 2018 and 2019 with the Mets. A lot of questions I have and problems I have too. Like you'll see. But anyway, stick around. This is what you've been waiting for. Here's the interview. Mickey Callaway, former manager of the New York Mets, right here on Locked Up Sports. All right, so now we're joined by a special guest, but we got two special guests because Brett is back. 2 herniated discs, sitting in the chair. It's not every day you get to interview the former manager of the team you root for.
Wouldn't miss it for the world.
He played in 5 seasons in the big leagues from 99 to 04 with the Tampa Bay Devil Rays, the Angels, the Rangers. He was the Cleveland Indians pitching coach from 2013 through 17. And, of course, he was the Mets manager in 2018 and 2019. Mickey Callaway is his name. Mickey, thanks for giving us a couple minutes here.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, guys.
Absolutely. Now, like I said, I'm going to start with something. All pitchers like to talk about one thing more than their pitching, and it's their hitting. Now, Mickey, you when you made your major league debut, you made it much like Steven Matz did. You pitched 6 innings, got the win. But tell us about the best part of that game. You went 2 for 3 with an RBI. Tell us about your 2 hits.
I did. It wasn't the most impressive 2 hits ever, but I'll take it, and I'll take that 667 lifetime batting average. But so Dustin Hermanson's pitching. I haven't hit since high school, so he's throwing 96 miles per hour, and I could barely see it. But I swung at the first pitch, my first 2 at bats, and literally hit a chopper into the turf there in at the old Expo Stadium, and it went about 30 feet in the air, and I just kind of cruised into first. The third baseman came in, grabbed the ball, and threw it back to the pitcher both times. So it wasn't that impressive, but I'll take it.
Hey, you legged out an infield single, all right, is what you did.
That's right, yes. Both of them were the exact same hit both times.
Line drive in the stat book.
Line drive on the stat book.
Exactly.
So now after your playing days, during your playing days, when you were in Anaheim, you played for Mike Scioscia, correct? And when that
I did.
Now you played for Mike Scioscia, one of the better managers of our time. You also were associated with Francona, who's an all-time great. We'll get to that in a minute. But with Mike Scioscia, explain to me what it was like playing for a guy like that. You know, someone who's tough as nails. And you guys went to the World Series and won the World Series.
Yeah, no, that was a great experience. It was great to be around Mike and our whole coaching staff that year. So our third base coach was Ron Renicky, who was a major league manager. Bud Black was our pitching coach, who's obviously a major league manager, and Joe Madden was our bench coach. So I was around some pretty good managers on that one staff, and then I got to play for Buck Showalter in Texas. But being around Mike Scioscia, you know, I think a great story to tell about that is I got traded over from Tampa Bay in the winter. And, you know, obviously we weren't very good when I was in Tampa Bay at that time. And to be honest with you, the Anaheim Angels weren't very good the year before. And I got traded over, went into spring training, and day one of spring training, Mike Scioscia is talking about winning the World Series. And I was kind of looking around like, okay, well, this is kind of crazy. You know, not a very good team last year. But what he did was he made our team believe. And I don't know if you remember that roster. Yeah, we had some great players, but we weren't, you know, it's hard to buy championships. And, you know, I think the Mets fans saw that last year.
Yeah, we know all about that. We know all about that.
Yeah. So just buying a championship is tough. so what you have to do is you have to instill in your players the right work ethic, the right way to play the game, going first to third on a ground ball to right field, running the bases the right way, playing defense the right way. And Mike Scioscia stressed all those things from day one and talked about winning a championship. And, we ended up doing that with a good supporting cast of guys that came up from AAA to help. Your system has to be solid from top to bottom. You're going to go through 11 starting pitchers on average in a major league season. So just going out and getting 5 guys you think are studs, that's not going to work. You better have some backup guys in AAA. We had John Lackey, Scott Shields. I came up and made 6 starts at the end. We had K-Rod down there in AAA, and we all played on that AAA team together and came up and contributed at the end of the season. Some of them got to contribute, in the actual World Series and things like that. So, you have to put together a team the right way. And I can promise Mets fans, I know they're probably getting a little impatient, but David Stearns is going to do that for this team.
Yeah, we're losing.
He's one of the.
Right
We're losing patience.
I wouldn't lose too much patience with him because he's going to do it the right way. I was around him in Cleveland. He offered me a job right away after I left the Mets. This guy knows what he's doing. He's going to build a team the right way. An organization the right way, which is even more important than just your major league roster, because obviously injuries come into play. I mean, look what happened to Diaz.
Yeah.
That hurt right out the gate. And, if you can't withstand that, then you're going to be in trouble. I believe he's going to build the right way.
It would have been better happening to Diaz the year you had him, right? When he was giving up all those home runs in the ninth inning.
I know. I think about that year with Diaz, and he had a tough go of it that year. But obviously, we all saw what was there. And, I'm kind of glad I didn't take him out of that closer's role, because I've been around a lot of good closers that have had success. And once they get taken out of that role, you never hear from them again. Maybe they're just.
You had him and Familia that year, too.
I did, yes. And both of them had rough goes that year, but that's how baseball goes. Some relievers can be a little bit here and there sometimes, but Sugar, he's a very good closer, obviously, and I'm sure the Mets are going to love to have him back.
Yeah, I mean, as far as relievers go, for me at least, because I've watched it forever. If you're not Mariano Rivera, I don't trust you as far as I can throw you. And
no doubt.
That's pretty much how it goes. Now, with Cleveland, you went to you were the pitching coach. You had a Cy Young Award winner, Corey Kluber, one year. You went to a Game 7, one of the great all-time Game 7s. What was it like being involved in that? I mean, you had you guys and the Cubs both with long droughts. You had you guys blew a big lead in Game 7. It went into extra innings. Yeah, I mean, it was an all-time great game, but you just happened to be on the wrong end of it.
It really was. It was one of the best games I've ever been a part of, obviously, being on the field for Game 7 in 2002 and winning it was pretty special. But just the game itself, Game 7 in 2016 was amazing. We had Corey Kluber running on fumes. Mm-hmm. That is the only game he's ever pitched in the big leagues where he didn't record a strikeout. Wow. Because he was just worn out.
And we were out 3 days rest. 3 days rest he was pitching.
Yeah. It was, and we were just out of pitching at that time. We had a great bullpen. They came in and did a great job to keep us where we needed to be. That rain delay, one of my favorite guys of all time, Rajai Davis, hit that game-tying home run, and then we had this, and then the momentum was back in our favor. It felt so great, and then we had that rain come, and we had that little bit of a delay. And the interesting thing about that is when you're trying to play for some type of championship, the clubhouse guys are in the inside and they're covering all the lockers. So you don't spray everybody's clothes and stuff with champagne. So we're tied. The Cubs locker room is all, there's plastic all over the place. There's plastic all over our locker room just in case one of us wins. And when we had that rain delay, usually the players go up in the clubhouses. Well, the Cubs went up there and they tore all the plastic down so their players didn't go up in there and see that and kind of have that, psychological part play in their mind. And we didn't do that as the Indians. Now, I don't know if that played a role, but there was something to that in my mind. I walked up there and was like, oh, man, you're in the middle of a game and you see all the plastic and what could be. Yeah, it kind of throws you for a loop a little bit.
Baseball players are very very superstitious bunch,
Absolutely, and I think that took that hit us in a way that wasn't too comfortable.
They had their Joe Madden got criticized profusely for a bunch of the moves he made during that game. He had his closer in who really, and he brought him back out in the ninth inning, and he got you guys in order. He got out of a jam because the second he came in, there was a double, and then Rajah Davis hit that home run, that dramatic home run, which was just crazy.
Yeah.
But there was all kinds of twists and turns. I was reading about it just from remembering it now yesterday, and I was like, wow, you know what? It's one of the better games I've ever seen. Besides that is the game, because you get such unlikely heroes. The Game 6, the Cardinals with Freeze.
Right. Absolutely.
That's the only one I could think of. Now, so after that, you come to the Mets 2018, 2019. You're right after Terry Collins. He's a beloved manager. We all love Terry Collins. He got us to a World Series. We lost. You have you have DeGrom, Syndergaard, Matz, and Harvey, who was kind of tailing off at that point. Tell me about what it was like watching DeGrom in those two seasons, two of perhaps the greatest seasons pitched ever in the history of the game.
Absolutely. I was fortunate enough to be around Corey Kluber to win 2 Cy Youngs and then getting to go to the Mets and see DeGrom win 2 Cy Youngs. It's a special thing, and it's very stressful as a coach. I don't think it, Corey Kluber is a little bit of a robot. I don't think it bothered him much, and DeGrom is so easygoing. He seemed to handle it really well, but I've never seen anybody pitch like DeGrom. As impressive as Corey Kluber's 2 Cy Youngs were, DeGrom's it wasn't even close. There was nobody on the planet pitching like him at the time, and I'd never seen anything like it on a day in, day out basis. When he's pitching and he's in the running for the Cy Young, and you kind of know it fairly early in the season, it becomes stressful as a manager. Like, what do you do with this guy? How do you ever take him out of a game unless he's hit his pitch count? It's a tough thing to do. I remember taking him out in one of his Cy Young seasons after 1 inning, and he didn't give up a run against the Phillies. I think he threw 44 pitches, and I took him out after the first, and I said, look, this is for your health so you can continue to compete for a Cy Young, not to try and make you not have a Cy Young, to put him back out there after 44 pitches in 1 inning wouldn't be very responsible of me, and it could lead to injuries. But
how did he take
it? Was stressful. He wanted to keep on pitching. DeGrom always wanted to keep on pitching, and that's a quality you always want in any of your pitchers. But I had to convince him that wasn't the right thing to do, and of course he was professional about it. And then he went out there and won the Cy Young anyway.
Amazing.
So. But watching him pitch, I've never seen anything like it. The velocity on all of his pitches, it's just his ability to throw any pitch in any count is what really it separates him from everybody else.
I think he probably had to rise to the occasion because he knew you guys weren't scoring any runs for him. Right? You guys,
I know.
That was mind-boggling. Nobody ever scores runs for him, and his record was 10-9, and he had like a 1.6 ERA.
First game he ever pitched, he was in past the 7th. He lost 1-0.
That's insane. Kind of the same thing happened to Corey Kluber when I was in Cleveland. I don't know if, and this could be just in my head, but I don't know if the hitters stand out there in the field and watch those guys pitch and think, man, it's really hard to hit. So when they go up, they don't have any confidence or what? But we couldn't score runs for them. It was unbelievable. And then it became a little bit of a thing. I think it got in guys' heads because they weren't scoring runs for them. And, it's hard to kind of get out of that mode once it starts happening.
Now, you guys started out that first year 11-1. Now, the Mets are always good in the beginning of the year. Okay, we know that. They win opening day every year. You can take it to the bank. They're good in the beginning of the year. But you were the best. You guys were 11-1. You won like 13 out of 15. And then the bottom kind of fell out. Explain to us what kind of went south that season, and also how do you bat out of order?
Yeah, well, okay, so June, it's the June thing for the Mets. They had it this year. I don't know what's going on with it. Do you guys have any idea what happens in June? Because if you take away our June, I think we had the best record in the National League that year.
Yeah,
so we it's that June swoon or whatever people call it. But we had trouble in June. Both years I think we kind of we started off hot the next year too, and ended up winning 86 games. But those guys they played hard the whole year, it was a tough month of June for us. That's all you can really say about it.
Yeah, sometimes you just run it. Everybody, when people stop hitting like that, it almost looks like the team's lackadaisical and they're not really trying. It's just hard. They're just people go in the slumps at the same time.
And they always tend to have a good second half, but they put themselves behind the 8 ball too much, and then you end up playing catch up. Now, today
absolutely.
that might work where you can get into the playoffs because of the new setup, but it was a little bit different back then. So you were really chasing the top in the division and one extra spot. So it's not easy.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if we were playing by these rules today, we would have made the playoffs my second year.
Yeah,
and we had the best second half record in the National League that year.
Oh, you were playing
so
well.
We could have gone as deep as we wanted in the playoffs.
We were just having this conversation. Yep.
Yeah. I think that year, we only lost 3 more games than Terry Collins' team that went to the championship of the World Series that year. So, you just got to get in and then see what happens.
Especially who's hottest. You get in late and you're the best second half team. There's a big difference between someone like the Yankees 2 years ago who were the best first half record around, but by the time the second half came around, they were a shell of themselves. And by the time the playoffs came around, it was, one and done. And
now you guys were red hot. You couldn't dig yourself out of the hole that you started in the beginning of the season, but that run was great though. My favorite Citi Field moment of all time. Was during that season. It was the Todd Frazier 3-run home run against the Nationals. Yeah. It was Marcus Stroman's first game pitching. Yeah. It was electric in the stadium. Then you had Conforto hit one over the right fielder's head. It was that right there. It's sad that that's the moment, but that's my favorite Citi Field moment out of all of them right now. That place was rocking that night.
Yeah, that was one of my favorites, too. I remember when Todd was in the hole, I talked to him, and I kind of walked him through, this is what's going to happen. You're going to hit a homer, and he did. But I say that to everybody.
You're right once in a while. That's good.
It was Doolittle. You guys killed Doolittle that
year. Yeah, we did. We had some good success against him, no matter how good he was pitching at the time.
And it's like that was like 8 in a row, 9 in a row, 13 out of 15. The calls by both Gary on television and by Howie on the radio were great. And it was a great moment. And I was actually there with work. I was there with work people, and we had like a thing out in the the Pepsi pick party area or whatever. And I'm going crazy because I'm a diehard Mets fan. And a lot of people are just there for the free beer and free hot dogs. And I had some of the free beer, so I was going crazy. I loved that. I had a great time. My wife gave me a hard time when I got home and everything because I came home 2 hours later. So that was a great night for me. Do you think you deserved another year? Now you got hired by Sandy, and when you got fired, it was by Brody Van Wagenen. I mean, let's be real. Brody Van Wagenen was in over his head. Do you think you deserved another year? Seeing how you improved in the second year?
Yeah, you know what? I mean, I think we improved 7 games my first year. We improved another 9 games my second year. Those young guys were really coming along, the McNeils, the Alonzos. And I felt like that second half of my second year, we had a special thing going. The guys were really clicking, getting along. We were doing things the right way. I think the turning point for us was we were playing a little bit sloppy. And in Arizona, instead of taking BP, we made them go out there and run the bases, in front of the fans. And I think that was a little bit embarrassing. And, we just said, hey, we've had enough of the way we're playing. We got to focus on the fundamentals. And if we're not going to play the game the right way, that's what we'll practice.
Do you think?
And we went out there and we did it, and we played well from then on. That's something that was tough for me to do. But you got to make these guys play the game the right way. And we started that. So, yeah, I would have loved another year. But also, I know how it works. You know, you had a new GM. He stuck with me. And he wanted his own person. And he tried, and obviously all that fell through. But, hey, I get it. You know, it's part of the business that, you don't really like. But that's part of the game. I love coaching, managing. I love playing. It's the best game of all time.
Of those young guys that you had, do you think the Mets went in the right direction, holding on to the guys they held on to and signing? And, like, what do you think about them trying to re-sign Pete Alonso to a long-term deal, letting go of Ahmed Rosario? Would you have kind of done the same thing, or do you think there'd be somewhat different?
Getting rid of Syndergaard.
Yeah. Wheeler is a big one.
Yeah, I liked Wheeler. I knew he was going to have some. You know, he finally started having some success. You could tell he was going to continue to do that. It's tough to say. I love that they held on to the young players. Hold on to your young core. Complement them with some other people. You know, if I was running things, I would have just had more depth. You know, I'm all about depth. Seeing the good teams, they have depth, and I want young, athletic players that know how to play defense, know how to play the game, know how to get RBIs, defense matters a lot too. And I think that's the one thing that we kind of suffered with when I was there. We weren't great defenders, and then that took its toll. It's hard to say otherwise. You know, the thing about it is you can have the biggest game plan in the world, like Stearns can go out there and have the best game plan in the world. And I see it on, some of the websites, some of the fans going, I would do this. But sometimes people don't want to come, or they're not available, or other teams won't trade them no matter what, or they're asking something ridiculous that you can't do. So you have the best game plan you can, and you go and try to successfully do it. And sometimes you have a lack of options. Even though it seems there's a plethora of players out there, they're just not available for you and what you have.
I think that's exactly what's going on with the Mets now.
Did they let you manage the game yourself? Did they ever, come down and say, hey, we want this going on, we want this pitcher in? Because there was a rumor going on while you were there that Diaz was it was coming from up top, that Diaz, his usage was being controlled by the front office and by the owners. Did they let you manage, or did they kind of pull the strings from up top?
There's always, we met all the time about how do we want to use these players? How do we want to do this? Do we want Diaz throwing, more than 3 outs? We met about that all the time, and we'd have powwows and come up with the best thing we thought was for the team. So, hey, look, in the end, I was the manager. It doesn't matter who influenced what. I had to make those decisions, and they're my decisions. So, that's just part of manager, now. Had I had 10 years in, would I have done something different because I didn't think I was going to get fired for doing it? Absolutely. But I didn't. I dealt with, what I had, the hand I was dealt, and tried to do it to the best of my ability.
And it's a tough place. I mean, listen, here you are years later, talking to two Mets fans, and we're picking apart certain decisions you made. So, I mean, it's not an easy place to come and manage, No.
Speaking of decisions, though, David Wright.
That's what makes it so special, though. I loved it because playing an ordinary game on an ordinary day in April at Citi Field is like playing a playoff game in Cleveland in October.
Yep.
So you get it it's the most important game you've ever played. Yeah. It's awesome. It was great every single night.
I think that's normal to us. We're like that to us. That's every game we've ever been to is like that. So we can't imagine that other places aren't like that.
Yeah, you would have never agreed to this interview if you heard the things I called you during that season.
No. Hey, it's not like that anywhere else. Yeah. Not even the Yankees, in my opinion. No, they have it easy compared to the Mets. Yeah. It's awesome. It's tough. The best place in the world to play.
We love it. We love it as Mets fans. Now, do you think who do you think would make a better captain? I think it's going to be one of these two guys is going to be the next captain of the Mets. Do you think it would be a better captain, Nimmo or Alonso?
Alonso, for sure.
Really?
The passion, the drive, And I love Nemo. Obviously he's a little more soft spoken. I think you need somebody that's going to get in somebody's ass from time to time. Alonso has the ability to do that. Not only is he an imposing figure, his ability to slug and do what he's done as a Met, and he's the right kind of guy you want. And I love the guy.
He's going to hit 500 home runs.
Alonso would be it for me. Yeah,
he's going to hit 500 home runs.
Doubt.
He's on the pace.
Absolutely.
Speaking of
Speaking
of captains, you were the manager for David Wright's last game. Is that correct?
I was. Yeah.
Now, how did that play out? Because in my mind, I would have given him as many at bats till he got a hit on that last at bat. Did you pull him, or was it all David's choice about how that all went down?
Yeah. No. So like anything with the Mets, it was planned out. We had a way we were going to do it. We wanted to make sure that we respected the game, we respected David, and did what he wanted to do. So we sat down with him beforehand, and we kind of mapped it all out. We knew when we were going to take him out. Everybody did, and we just kind of planned it the best we could for David, and to kind of highlight his amazing, in my opinion, Hall of Fame career.
No, you think he's a Hall of Famer?
I think that sometimes you have to understand why guys couldn't continue on, and you have to recognize what they did while they could.
Listen, I love David Wright, but he is not. And I'm a tough grader with Dolphin. He is not.
I put him in today.
Yeah,
totally.
I mean, sometimes you have to take into account what he meant to that team, and what he'll always mean to 100%. That team, in my opinion.
What's your thought on this? On like Bonds and A-Rod and them? As a pitcher, you were a pitcher, so
yeah, I know. I had to face all those a-holes when they were doing steroids.
Yeah.
And I was throwing 90. They were hitting home runs off.
Maybe that's why you're not in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
6-something batting average. You belong there.
Yeah, I think that I think that's a tough one. At the time though, there wasn't. There was a ton of guys doing it, and I guarantee you some of those guys in the Hall of Fame did it and just didn't get, nobody threw them under the bus.
See, I think you got to go case by case. Like Bonds
absolutely.
People were walking Bonds with the bases loaded.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
I think in that 0-2 World Series, we walked him every time, I think, but 4 at-bats, and he had 4 homers. It was
incredible.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, there's nobody like it. I don't care what you were taking or what you were doing. Nobody hit a baseball like Barry Bonds, and I don't know if anybody ever will.
Yeah, no, it was crazy.
No doubt.
Now, you said you had worked with Buck Showalter, right?
I did, yes.
What was your feel of him? Because I don't think they should have got rid of him this year. Because who's better than Buck Showalter? You're not gonna find someone better than Buck Showalter. So
starting fresh or what? Yeah.
Yeah, I really enjoyed Buck. When my time in Texas there, it was kind of like what the Mets had the last couple of years. They went all in. We had Michael Young, Juan Gonzalez, Rafael Palmeiro, A-Rod signing the biggest contract in history at the time.
Speaking of steroids, you just named 3 steroids, guys.
Mark Teixeira. I mean, we were loaded, and we were in first place for 3/4 of the year, and we just kind of fell out of contention at the end and didn't even make the playoffs. I love being around Buck. The thing I liked about Buck was the organization. He had countdown clocks to first pitch and spring training, things like that. He was on top of everything. So I did enjoy being around Buck and learn some stuff from him.
Now, did you think the Wilpons were because as Mets fans, obviously we think the Wilpons were cheap and they didn't go out and do everything they needed to. Did you think would you have rather have Steve Cohen as the owner? Now, obviously he might pay you more, but do you think it'd be better for a team to have someone like Steve Cohen who has bottomless pockets or the Wilpons?
I don't think it matters, to be honest with you. I think it's who's running your organization. I mean, look at the Tampa Bay Rays.
Yeah.
They're spending a third of what we spent with the Wilpons, and they're winning every year.
Arizona just this year.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I think it's all about who you're acquiring. I think the Wilpons got a bad rap. I knew the things that were going on and then what was being said in the media, and they weren't very accurate. So I have a special place in my heart for the Wilpons. They are very, very good people. I will say that. And obviously they love the game of baseball, and they wanted to win more than anybody. And it's just not that easy to go out there and put a perennial winner out there. The Yankees can have all the winning seasons they want, but if you're not winning championships, they're not having success either.
No, you're right. And you know what? But you just got to be, at this point, you just got to be in it. You just got to get in it because they got a bunch of teams in, and you got to get hot at the right time.
That's exactly what it is now. I actually like it. I think it really rewards teams who have a good second half at this point, as opposed to teams who just, it shows you. I think they're moving. I don't know how far they're going to go, but I think they're getting in the right direction.
Right. Yeah. I think that they need to have a little bit better of a reward for a team winning 101 games.
Better, yep.
I mean, I don't like the playoff system the way it is right now.
Nope, the format is not right.
I don't like a lot of rules the way they are right now. But
you don't like? Do you like?
That's
the pitch
a whole
clock?
different story.
Do you like the pitch clock?
I don't mind the pitch clock because I've always tried to get my pitchers to work fast because it benefits a pitcher, and if they can do that, then they're going to pitch better. So I don't mind it from a pitching standpoint. So that's one rule I don't mind too much.
What about the shift? I like that there's no shift. I like that they can't put, because I mean that was ridiculous. And listen, guys should have been bunting down the third base. And I listened to a press conference with you from the other day. For some reason, there was a guy, I think it was like Cabrera or something. They were asking you, they were drilling you why you didn't bunt, And you're like, guys can't hit it that way. Like if he could hit it that way, they wouldn't be shifting against him. But I like the no shift.
Yeah, exactly. I like the no shift too. The thing that drove me crazy with the shift is that I'm in the dugout going, bunt, the whole time. And nobody would freaking do it.
It's a free hit.
Mad.
It's a free base.
I know.
Nobody would take it.
It's a double. It's a double.
Yeah.
It is.
Like, you'll take a walk, but you won't take a free hit. That's crazy.
And don't tell me they don't know how to hit it that way. They're professional athletes who have held a baseball bat every day since they're like 12 years old. They know how to manipulate a ball in that direction. Like, trust me.
Right. The problem was really they couldn't hit home runs that way.
Right.
So they didn't want to attempt to do it.
Right.
That's the big thing.
Now, do you think Diaz comes back this year and has a good year again, or he rebounds after that missed year? And what do you think about the WBC? Did you not want your players playing in it?
I am always skeptical when a guy has to sit out a full season. If he's healthy this winter, it would benefit him, in my mind, to go pitch a little bit of winter ball to get the rust off, come into spring training, full bore, ready to go. And, maybe there's some bumps at the beginning of the season, but hopefully his last couple of seasons have given him the confidence that no matter how long it's been, he's just going to go out there and dominate.
We just lost Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen it in the past. He dominated over in Seattle, and he comes over to us and he struggles for a couple seasons.
Oh, yeah.
So, relievers are so volatile. I don't know what to think.
I told you, if he's not Mariano Rivera, I don't trust him as far as I can throw him.
Yeah, no doubt.
And that just shows how great Mariano Rivera really was.
Ridiculously good.
Yeah, like I'm somebody, I don't like I like the Mets than anybody playing the Yankees because I lived through that dynasty, like in my prime sports years, and a lot of my friends are Yankee fans, and they don't understand why us Mets fans hate him. And I say to them, I go, listen, if the Mets won 4 out of 5 and they won one of them on Yankee Stadium, you would hate me because I would be just as pompous as you are.
That's right.
Because they think it's easy.
Yeah, right.
Now you had some issues. Obviously, you were eligible for reinstatement last year. Are we going to see? Are we going to see Mickey Callaway again in a big league uniform?
Yeah, I've been reinstated for about a year now. I guess just over a year. I think that everything that happened was maybe a bit of a blessing in disguise for me in my personal life here with my girls. Coaching baseball and playing baseball is a little bit of a selfish life, especially when you have a family. And it is what it is. The articles that were written were not very accurate, but that's the day and the world we live in right now. They can write whatever they want, and you have to deal with the consequences. Obviously, I had some relationships that I shouldn't have had. They were all consensual. But, I learned a huge lesson. I would love to coach again in the major leagues. We'll see if that happens. Right now, I'm enjoying my family. It looks like I might head over to Mexico this summer and be an assistant to the GM and the president, and maybe get on the field a little bit in uniform and coach and kind of see the admin part of baseball, which I'm excited about. But right now I'm enjoying, life away from the game. And obviously it's deep in my heart and soul, and would love to get back into it at some point.
Well, you're speaking to two guys here who it's the same type of thing. Like where I work on Rikers Island, correctional officer, and I do it's a toll on my family as well. I have a newborn, and we do 16 hours a day every day.
Yeah.
So I don't get to see them, and like you said, baseball's part of your life. You've been doing it, since you were 5 years old. You've been playing baseball. But,
That's right.
Might as well enjoy it a little bit. But we'd like to see you back.
We'd love to see you back.
At least as a pitching coach, because you were excellent as a pitching coach.
I appreciate it.
You had all those Cy Young awards and everything, and with the 667 lifetime average, you could be a hitting coach. You got to.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, listen, Mickey, thank you for giving us a couple times. This was great. Listen, anytime you want to talk to us, you let us know. You got me on Facebook, everything like that. Don't be a stranger.
Oh, absolutely, fellas. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Mickey.
Thanks, Mickey. Appreciate it.
All right, fellas. Take care.
All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
3, 2, 1. Thank you, Mickey Callaway. Excellent job. Great interview. Brett has already gone downstairs because his back. Listen, he was really toughing it out up here. Excellent job by Brett. Excellent job by Mickey Callaway. We want to thank everybody for listening. I hope you enjoyed the interview as much as we enjoyed doing it for you. That's going to be it for us for tonight. I'll be back with you in a couple days for the weekend wrap-up and everything like that. Mark Mancini next week. Once again, big thank you to Mickey Callaway. Thanks. Good job, Brett, coming back, playing injured, toughing it out. Way to go. Thank you, everybody. Remember, don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe. Every little bit helps. We'll talk to you later this week, everybody. I'm Bob Walters for Brett Grasso. See ya.